Sampai jumpa lagi.
Sampai jumpa. Bye-bye.
After 6 weeks at Blue Lagoon in Padangbai, we were ready to say, see you later. Okay, so this is the reality of traveling with a toddler, doing 2 trainings back to back, and trying to have 1 suitcase each for over 6 months of travel. It's overloaded bags, a little bit of stress, and a lot of surrender because I'm probably going to end up getting rid of half of it and then complaining about the fact that I have nothing to wear or that I keep wearing the same things. But that's the reality.
Not the heart. No.
Oh, Sophie's had her fair share of energy drain. Her first fever. She's still recovering from a cough, which I think she's passed on to Mama. And she's been well taken care of in that phase with an amazing local support team, my Balinese super nannies. And she's, I think, also ready for some proper R&R and lots of mama cuddles. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Say, we go.
Are you ready to go?
We go.
We go? Okay.
We're ready.
That's it.
Lagi. Bye. See you in October. Cucu.
One more for me.
Bisu. Say I love you. I love you.
Dadah.
Alright. See ya.
Before the proper R&R kicked off, we wanted to spend a bit of time with our good friend Janet Stone, who was only in Bali for 1 more night. So we headed down to Uluwatu to catch her and spend a bit of time together. Janet is an incredible, passionate, connected, and present yoga teacher. She's a mother of 2 amazing daughters. She's a real advocate for music and bhakti and kirtan. She has a beautiful devotional quality to everything that she does, and that includes her work for the environment and the way that she parents and the way that she just shows up as a person. And we always love spending time with her. We connect a lot, we share a lot, and she feels like part of our family. So we just love those moments to seize with her and squeeze her real tight before she heads off into the world again.
I'm Janet Stone, and I have the grace of being a student of yoga and a student of life, actually, and together those have made for quite an interesting journey. I was in the film industry for 12 years, and somehow got pulled into this beautiful life of sharing the teachings of yoga, really to the best of my ability, understanding and trying to offer my teacher's teachings. And I'm a mama, and really it just brings me great joy to travel around the world, but also stay rooted in San Francisco. And right now you find me in Bali, in Ubud. Yoga and its current form is different than yoga was in its past form, and it will continue to evolve most likely. My relationship with it is really a thread. It's a relationship of moment-to-moment choices that I make, choices that move me toward wholeness, toward self-understanding, and not just being a puppet really of my same samskaras or loops or habitual behaviors. And there are so many yogas in the sense that there are so many ways in which we can crawl out of the rut of our repetitive, addictive behaviors. So whatever form you take, that it moves you closer toward understanding of self and the wholeness and the interconnectivity. So whether it's the path of yoga, or whether it's dance, or whatever form it might take, that it uplifts and enlightens. And that's not to say that it doesn't trudge in and get all the stuff that's from the bottom up to the top. It is truly, for me, the lotus flower practice, in that I get down into the muck, I get down in the mud. I'm not afraid to take my hands and just get into that silt, into that nourishment. I'm not afraid to feel the fluidity, the grace of water, and the beauty of Shri, of life, of auspiciousness. And I'm not afraid to blow in the wind and be uncertain and be curious and be open. So for me, it's the teachings of yoga that root and help me see the greater perspective. So as I sit here surrounded by beauty, what we cannot see often is that in the ocean and on the beaches here in Bali, it's covered in plastic, and that our overconsumption has really starting to choke us. And we all notice this if we look up and pay attention. And so recently, I've been more and more involved with the NRDC, the Natural Resource Defense Council. My endeavor is to bring attention to our individual connection to our overconsumption. Because not only are we consuming all the planet's resources, but also our own. It really reflects, if we consider ourselves as a whole environment, that we're eating in ways that are actually stomping out our life and are stomping out our vitality, that actually don't nourish us. And we forget the symbiotic relationship we have in here, but also with our environment. So really what I want to bring a light to with the relationship with the NRDC is that we have enough and we are enough. Often when you think of conservation, it becomes overwhelming. You think of the planet, sure enough, it's really overwhelming. And so what we've found is just in our own home, and how can we make choices? So my project really with the NRDC is to give the tools for each individual home to maybe conserve, maybe consume less, watch what is in the products, and really consider every time before they go out and get something new, what do I really need and what do we really need? So our concept is simple, that we really look at our daily activities And the 5 simple steps, I mean, each one of us can create our own 5 steps, but for us, just to keep it simple, we always have reusable bottles. Whether we're going to go get coffee or whether we're going to get tea or we're going to get a smoothie, we can have it placed in there. We don't need the plastic cup. That we have metal straws or bamboo straws. Because if we're going to drink that smoothie, we don't need that little tiny straw. The products that we purchase, it's not that hard to get shampoos that don't have those little plastic beads, because you know we end up eating those in the end, right? They go into the oceans, the fish consume them, they can't really digest them, we kill the fish, we eat the fish. Who's eating shampoo? We are, right? So it is actually this cyclical awareness. Really holding back from any plastic bags, that we just carry these great bags, bolsas, everywhere we go, and that whether we're in Bali, and we also hand them out so that we have access to something that we can just use again and again and again. So single-use plastic going out the door. Share your voice, support NRDC or support another organization that's gathering it up and giving their whole attention to really making a difference. So it can be airy, it can be tangible, or go out and support those who are really sharing their voice, making a difference.
This week we were lucky enough to spend time at Soul Shine in Bali, which is a beautiful retreat center that was built and founded by our good friend Michael Frenti. And it was time for us to unwind and get a little bit of time and care for ourselves.
And it was definitely time for it too. After 6 weeks of constant giving and holding space for other people and teaching others about self-care and non-negotiables, about meditation, getting enough rest, eating good food, taking care of themselves, even in these intense long days that we were creating for everybody, it was time to practice a bit more of what we preach.
Cheers, Baba.
After every training, we always have some time to decompress, to chill out, and really to get back into a flow, back into a rhythm of us as a couple, as a family, and as practitioners of yoga. So we recreate the time to wake up still early, but knowing that that early morning time is for us. So we'll wake up early, we do our meditation practice, we might take turns to do our asana practice, but we do our best to create even pockets of time. With a toddler now, it adds that new level of creativity as to how we make it work, right? Sometimes that means that Honza's doing a practice, and if I roll at my mat next to him, Sofie might climb on top of me, and that's kind of the end of my yoga practice, but that's okay. One of the most important things that I'm learning, that we're both learning as parents, is that we have to keep surrendering and just showing up in the moment and being fully present and aware with whatever the practice might look like in the morning. But what is unbreakable is the desire and the passion and the dedication to keep showing up every morning And especially in these times that we're not in training mode, we need to keep filling up our cup and coming back to what it is that we love about the yoga practice and why we get up early every morning to keep coming back to these practices that ground us and give us the stability to take on whatever comes our way. Especially now with a toddler, managing enough sleep for her, for us, getting enough family time and making sure she's nurtured, making sure she's healthy, we're healthy, preventing all of us from getting sick is a whole other undertaking. And it wasn't so easy this time around. Sofie got her first fever and we both had a little freak out about it.
We did. We woke up in the middle of the night. It was 2 a.m. She was burning up. And I think it's fair to say both of our minds went into all kinds of dark places. Unnecessarily in hindsight, but of course, going through the experience, especially for the first time, it brought up some fears and some considerations for us. She's pulled through since then, but it was definitely a whole new element to manage within trying to hold space for so many other people. It was a good lesson to learn.
One of the sweetest outcomes of this 6 weeks of training was that when Sofie was a bit unwell and I lost my voice towards the end of the training, was that first and foremost Honza was there to carry the flag and keep things moving strong and hold the energy, carry the container. But what was extra sweet too is that our students were really supportive and really concerned and loving and offering whatever they could to help us contain the energy so that we could give back to them. It was this beautiful connective exchange that kept happening throughout the training. So we realized that even when we're depleted, we have the support of our immediate community or students or teachers around us to help keep us uplifted.
Even though we are unwinding in beautiful Ubud this week, we also have all kinds of plans to meet up with cool people and visit some incredible organizations who are doing important things in the world. So tune in next week and see what we get up to.
And slowly reversing,
Reverse it.
reconnecting.
Would you reverse it? Flip the thing down, flip it, and reverse it. That's yours. There. Oh, did I just I only just spit on you a little bit.